GameStop. So I put out a poll the other day asking if you guys think GameStop's going to close down. And, I've seen a lot of videos recently, as per usual around this time of year. Every year after the holidays, after the end of January, you're going to see a lot of layoffs with retail companies. That's just how it goes. Because they overstaff for the holidays, and then people get let go. In addition to that, GameStop has a nice habit of getting rid of people in general around that time of the year anyway, so it seems like a lot is happening in a shorter period of time, but I don't think GameStop's going to go anywhere. They've been closing down for 10 years, and they'll be closing down for the next 10 years. One thing I could definitely say about GameStop is they have this habit of pulling through. And I don't know if it's just the media and YouTubers, like the bigger guys, working along with the short sellers to make you think the company's dying, to lower the stock so that they can buy a shit ton of them and then flip them once it rises back up again. Also, I don't think it's ever going to get to the severity that it did that one year with the, with the Wall Street Bets guys, but GameStop is a very adaptable company, as many people know that have went into a GameStop or heard anyone talk about one for the past 4 or 5 years, is that, there's a lot less games in the store and a lot more of these collectibles and cards as a focus. And honestly, that does give them a lot of revenue because it's very, very high in margin, these types of products. So that's why you saw a huge shift going from the used games to more of this stuff, because the margins are just as good as how the used games used to be when people still bought physical games primarily, because a lot of their market died out with the digital storefronts. And yeah, digital storefronts have been around for a while, but it also takes a while for a consumer to kind of adapt to the new environment. But one thing I can say about GameStop is that they don't go down without a fight. So you're going to see a lot of, pre-order trains happening again, I think. You'll see a lot more retro consoles make their ways back into the store, only because there's a lot of stuff in that market that hasn't been put on display or made easily obtainable. GameStop's definitely going to take advantage of that. So I would definitely be on the lookout for Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, stuff like that in the next year or so to end up back in GameStop. Which is good for the consumer, because then places like DK Oldies will have to lower their prices if they want to compete with, basically the only major video game store in America. Which brings me to my next point. They are the only video game focused, storefront in America. So that definitely plays a lot in their favor as far as, staying in the market. There's no one here to kick them out. Yeah, of course, Amazon and all that, but if you were going to buy a game on Amazon online, why wouldn't you just buy it digitally? You get it faster, you don't have to wait 2 days. Now, one thing I'd really like to see them bring back is the way the power-up card used to be, where you got the magazine subscription, whether you go digital with that or print, and the 10% off used games and accessories, because that was really the biggest selling point or incentive for you to have that thing. I worked at GameStop many moons ago, 2009, 2008, that kind of era, and it wasn't out of the ordinary for somebody to come in and buy 3 new games, recently released games pre-owned for $54.99, and then to sign up for the Pro card, it's like $15. So you buy 3 games at $55, you basically get the membership for free, because it saves you like $5.50 on each game. That times 3, that's like $16.50. So there was a lot of value there, because they already came into the store intending to spend that. They need to also pay their workers more money, at least $9 an hour, which I know is a big deal for them, because they get a lot of these teenagers working for them that, you know, are just so excited to be around video games that they'll literally work for $7.25 or $7.50 an hour, which is, you know, minimum wage in a lot of places. But the thrill of working at a game store wears off within like a month or two. Once you realize how much actual work it is, you're like, dude, this sucks. And then you only get like 18 hours a week. Sometimes you get only 15 hours a week, and you know, they ride your ass a lot, but you're going to get that with a lot of jobs. So I wouldn't say it's one of the worst jobs you could have. I think running a drive-thru at a fast food restaurant is probably the worst job that I've ever had. And then, you know, of course, if you're a plumber and you deal with poo-poo all day, that's probably way worse, but you get compensated a lot more for that, so it's a little different. Treating your employees better in general is always a good rule of thumb, and when it comes time to laying people off around this time of the year, and then you have other people that are just, you know, quitting in general, they definitely will figure out that they've got to make some changes to leadership in stores and, you know, overhead of leadership as well, like district managers, because those guys, I don't know how it is now. I'm sure it's a lot worse than it was when I worked there, but that always seemed to be, you know, a terrible time. I don't necessarily think, you know, focusing on collectibles and, you know, clothing and, you know, action figures and stuff is a bad idea. You know, these stores are fairly large and you can fit games in, you know, tighter spaces, as opposed to, you know, the way it used to be. You walk in the store and you'd have like an entire wall of like PS4 games, and it's literally only like 30 games. They're just kind of, you know, spread thin. But another thing that they need to like revamp is that they call it GPGs, the game players guarantee, where they, you know, they try to sell you the warranty on the game. The fact that they charge you $3 for it if it's like a $50 game, and $2 if it's like a, you know, $20 to $40 game, and then $1 if it's less than $20, stupid as hell, because it literally takes the same amount of effort for them to, you know, resurface a game. So whether the game is $60, $30, or, you know, $10, it shouldn't be a different price. It should just be either $3 in general or $1. And, you know, chances are no one's going to get it for a game that's less than $20 anyways, even if it is only $1 increase. Another thing they need to improve on, so a lot of the GameStops were originally Funko Lands, or at least like the one that was in my city. And, you know, Funko Land was awesome because they had the display TVs up throughout the whole store, you know, and they had tons of games on display that you could demo at any time. So it was really interactive. It was almost like an arcade in the sense that you could try so many different games, but it also worked in the favor of, you know, you'd be able to test out any game before you bought it. And I think they really need to, when they start bringing the retro stuff back, they need to do stuff like that. You know, you could fit a lot of experience for clients or customers in that space. You know, I worked at a mall store for a long time, and, you know, it was probably like a third of the size of a normal GameStop, and we were still able to have 2 or 3 displays in there, as well as a bunch of games on racks and in bins. So I know that it's possible, and it doesn't cost that much to do that. So I mean, why wouldn't you? You know, bring back midnight releases as well. That's you know, just a great way to bring your community together, because these types of stores, that's one thing that you don't get from buying from like DK Oldies or any other like online retailer. Is GameStop used to be an experience for you and your community, where you could meet gamers that, you know, pre-order the same game as you, and, you know, just standing in line waiting for the midnight release. You know, that was awesome, and that was a lot of revenue for GameStop, because, you know, what do they do? Like when a new Call of Duty game comes out, you walk in, or like you want to buy, you know, these Call of Duty branded headsets, or you know, anything, carrying bags, controllers, all this extra stuff. That's like, you know, that's just a ton of margin for them. I don't know why they even ever moved away from that. Like, whoever took over and like made that decision is a poo-poo head. But yeah, ultimately that's all I wanted to say was, you know, I don't think GameStop's ever going to close down, at least not anytime in the near future. And you know, just sharing a little bit of my experience with the company in general. I've bought and traded in things to GameStop before. You know, they're not always unfair, and in some cases they do have good deals when they do like their buy two get one free. There is a market still out there for physical games. People like to actually own something that they buy, especially when they're marked that low. You know what I mean? Like $23 for NBA 2K3. That game came out like 4 months ago. And I'm sure on the store you can buy it digitally for like 25 or 30, maybe even $20, but to physically have it is, you know, definitely an incentive for a lot of people. Now this right here, $64.99. I know that's not really GameStop's control as far as how much they charge for new games, because they're all going to $69.99, but I don't think this game's worth $30. So good luck to you guys trying to sell it for that. Looks like they don't even have anything available for it anyways. But yeah, guys, that's it. Thanks for you know, doing the poll and watching the video. Give me a like and drop me a comment. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers, which is pretty sweet. I never thought that I'd have a lot of people that gave a shit about what I would say, so thanks for tuning in. You know, I appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.